Hello everyone, my name is Ronald Denisio and I'm the 7th grade Social Studies Virtual Content Specialist. In today's video, I will discuss providing students feedback using rubrics on Google Classroom. This video will be referring to lessons from Unit 3, A New Nation, the United States Constitution, specifically Day 22, George Washington's Farewell Address. Still, you can apply this strategy when assessing any learning activity in the Passport to Social Studies curriculum. Rubrics are a great way to set expectations about what standards-based outcomes you want your students to meet. I found rubrics helpful in setting the expectations for students for their work when they respond to wrap-up questions, check for understanding questions, and also performance or project-based assessments in the Passport to Social Studies curriculum. Rubrics can also be beneficial for students to self-assess the quality of their work. First, we need our assignment. For this example, I'm asking my students to synthesize a lot of what they have learned about in Unit 3, A New Nation, the United States Constitution, by answering the following question. In what ways was the United States already divided at the time of Washington's speech? And this is based on George Washington's Farewell Address lesson, which is Unit 3, Day 22. As you can see here, I'm asking students to name at least 2 ways in which the United States was divided, cite at least 2 primary sources from previous lessons, and use information from previous lessons to support their argument. I also listed and included lessons that I think will be helpful from Unit 3, including Unit 3, Day 2, Shays' Rebellion, Unit 3, Day 4, The Great Compromise, Unit 3, Day 5 and 6, Founding Perspectives on Slavery, and Unit 3, Day 7, Slavery and the Constitution, and finally, Unit 3, Day 16, Federalists and Anti-Federalists. Below the lessons that I think would be helpful for students finding primary source material, I also have a space for students to record their response. And then below that space, I have a standards-based outcome rubric that my social studies department uses. Our department created this rubric based on the social studies framework, next generation standards, and the New York State K-8 social studies practices, which can all be found in the original Passport to Social Studies guide. I'm going to come back to this rubric when we set up our assignment in Google Classroom. Now we'll go back to the assignment page on Google Classroom, add our assignment, and select Make a Copy for each student so students can type directly in the document. This will be helpful for providing feedback later. So I'll go ahead and click Add. I've already copied my link, and I'll add the link, and then click Make a Copy for each student. To create the rubric, we're going to focus on the bottom right portion of this page, where it says Rubric. And you'll see you have 3 options: Create Rubric, Reuse Rubric, and an Import from Sheets. I want us to click Create Rubric. So now you'll have the option to add the criteria you'll use to evaluate student work, as well as any performance levels or descriptions you want to include, and students will also receive a copy of this rubric with their assignment. Here you have the option to use scoring. I'm going to turn off scoring because my school uses a mastery-based grading system, so we won't use scoring for this rubric. Now I'll go back to my rubric that I have in the assignment, and I'll take a look at the standard-based outcomes. For example, the first one says, explain historical concepts and information. I'll put this for the criterion title. For the level, I'll add the level title. So not yet, attempting standards, meeting standards, and exceeding standards. Although I'll then go back to the rubric and copy and paste the description in the appropriate space. And remember, this is based on my school and my department's rubric, so yours might look different based on your school's grading policy and the rubric that your school uses. Now I have each required level of not yet, attempting standards, meeting standards, and exceeding standards for the explain historical concepts and information standard-based outcome that I'm assessing for this learning assignment. I'll then repeat the same process For the next two outcomes, formulate and defend arguments with evidence from a variety of primary and secondary sources, as well as communicate clearly and effectively about social studies content. So once you save your rubric, you can see it back in the main assignment. Something that is important to recognize is that we can always edit this rubric. So you'll see here, if I click these three dots and click edit, for example, I can toggle if I want to use scoring or not. I can click this button. You can also sort the order of points by ascending or descending to meet the needs of your grading. All right, so once we've posted the assignment, let's take a look at what this looks like on the student end. I'm going to go into student work and click my pretend test student to see what it looks like on their end. You'll see here that above the private comment section of Google Classroom, you also have a copy of the rubric. When I click into the assignment, when my student completes this activity, I'll have the opportunity to provide feedback based on the written response, and I can also use the rubric to rate the student's performance. I can then return the assignment to the student as well and provide them feedback on anything that they need to work on for next time. And the last thing I want to make you aware of is we also, now that we've posted this, have the option to reuse rubrics. So you'll see here that our farewell address writing response rubric is here. If we ever want to reuse it, we can preview it and select it and see what we have created. Additionally, you can use other rubrics that you've used throughout the school year as well. All right, everyone, that is how you use rubrics on Google Classroom and create rubrics on Google Classroom. I hope this video was helpful. And remember, you can use rubrics when assessing lots of different learning activities in the Passport to Social Studies curriculum.